This is problem 15.4 from Chapter 15, Brigham and Houston's Fundamentals of Financial Management, Concise 9th edition, and we're asked to calculate the inventory conversion period for Zane Corporation and then do a little bit of maneuvering with the ratios to calculate what some of the numbers are. All right, so first things first, we have an inventory conversion period, or days of inventory, of 64 days. We have days of accounts receivable, which are using the term average collection period. Day sales outstanding, average collection period, or days of accounts receivable is what I like. That's 28 days. And then days of payables, and they're using the terminology accounts payable, the payables deferral period, 41 days. The cash conversion cycle is the days of inventory plus the days of accounts receivable minus the days of payables. So that's the first part A. What's their cash conversion cycle? 51 days. If Zane's annual sales are $2,578,235 all on credit, how much is the investment in accounts receivable? All right. Sales $2,578,235. 1 day's sales would be that divided by 365. And the definition of the days of accounts receivable is how many days worth of sales are tied up in accounts receivable. So their accounts receivable amount would be $7,064 a day times 28 days. So they would have roughly 197,782 days worth of money tied up in accounts receivable. All right, and the third part, how many times per year does Zane turn over its inventory? Okay, so when you say turn over its inventory, you're talking about what is the inventory the inventory turnover ratio, but we have two of those. And in the promises, use sales as the numerator, so use sales per dollar of inventory for the accounts receivable, or for the inventory turnover, but we can do it both ways. Cost of goods sold are 75% of sales, so the cost of goods sold per year, about 1.93 million. And if we convert that into a day, 1 day's COGS. So if I wanted to calculate the total amount of the inventory, by definition, if there's 64 days of inventory and the cost of goods sold is $5,298 a day, then inventory sits at $339,056. Okay? Now, the problem's asking us to use sales as the numerator to calculate the inventory turnover. So inventory turnover ratio, sales basis, would be sales over inventory. Okay, that's the definition, sales over inventory. So I know that sales are given and the inventory is calculated. about 7.6 days. By the way, the other way of doing this, which frankly I find a better measure, but there are some people use the sales basis, some use the cost of goods sold basis. All right. That would simply be, since you already have cost of goods sold and you needed cost of goods sold to calculate the value of inventory, all right, you get a different number, and the reason that the cost of goods sold basis number is smaller is when you're using sales. Sales includes not only the cost of goods sold, but also the markup on your sales, and that doesn't have anything to do with inventory. It has everything to do with just charging the price, and you have to charge more because you got to pay the light bill and salaries and stuff. But anyway, they asked for the inventory turnover ratio on the sales basis, and that would be the answer.